Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I am coming back at you with another Wargaming and miniature video. In this video, we're going to continue on with my Napoleonic project update for my 28mm Waterloo project. If you've been following my updates, you know that I'm working towards Quatre Bras first, and then we'll be expanding into the Waterloo once I get Quatre Bras set up. All right, now what you see in front of you is the 4th Legere Regiment, right, with its 1st, 2nd, and 3rd battalions. I had just finished the 3rd battalion, and it is different than these other two. On the screen right there, you should see the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd battalions being displayed so that you can take a look at them. Okay, so the 1st and the 2nd battalion are both front rank. I had ordered front rank battalion packs, and it came with, you know, the standard bearers and the voltigeurs in Busbies and the chasseurs and the fusiliers. So I wanted to show you this 3rd battalion, because I had already showed these off on camera, but the reason why I brought this video up was to show off the 3rd battalion, but also to kind of give you a little bit of a comparison between the Perry models, because these are Perry models, except for 4 of these metal models are actually front rank, but the remainder of these models are Perry, and I wanted to show them off. All right, so first things you'll notice is drummers. This drummer has a short well, I don't know if you can even see that. Okay, let's get this on camera. This drummer has a shorter standard line plume, so he's a little bit out of place. But other than that, I think the uniform and everything else is exactly the same. Something you'll notice that on the 1st battalion, I gave them the green and the red. 2nd battalion, I gave them the blue and the red. And then on the 3rd battalion, I gave them the orange and the red. And the orange and the red kind of blend together. You almost can't see the transition between orange and red, but it is there. Now, that's probably due to the wash. So I've thought about going back over the plumes with a highlight on the orange, just to draw out the unusual color. Same thing with the blue and the green, just to give it a little bit more pop on that. Okay, so what we want to do is I'm going to move this. I'm going to slide this over. Okay, so these are all metal. These are all metal. And this is mostly plastic. Okay, because they're part of the Perry plastics. As you can see, as part of my skirmishers, I was able to use Warlord Games chasseur heads that had the Busbies, right? So I was able to use the chasseur head Busbies, and I was able to use the Perry grenadier heads for the grenadiers over here, and everything else is pretty much the same. Now you see the Perry Elite Company tall plumes. We were able to use those for that. Now, the reason why I'm kind of jumping around a little bit is I'm not really sure how I want this video to go, but what I do want to do is show you the comparison of the Perry versus the front rank. So what I want to do is kind of just take this front rank unit, move it off camera, and then I wanted to bring these up a little bit closer so you can kind of see. Let's get rid of the command element here, because it is also front rank. And let's get rid of this command element so it doesn't look, so compare apples against apples instead of apples and oranges. Okay, so we're just taking a look at the standard line or line elements on these. Do they look like they would function well together on the same table? I think so. Okay, so I noticed that the front rank sets had guys kneeling, and the parry, I didn't use any of their kneeling models. They had some, but I decided not to use them. Okay. Does it look like I could take these two units and possibly use them together? I mean, parry and front rank, they look pretty good together. But I do want to point out some differences. First of all, they're plastic. They weigh a lot less. There's like no weight to that base. And this definitely has some weight to it because there's 4 metal on there. You can tell that these guys here are a little bit more bulky, specifically around the legs and the shakos. They definitely have a little bit more bulk on the, okay, these guys, kneeling, it's kind of hard to see, but you can see the bulk on this model compared to the bulk on this model. Now, another thing you'll notice is these epaulets on the front rank are thicker and more pronounced than the parry. The parry epaulets are almost level with the arm, the sleeve, and you really had to kind of, I mean, they exist, it's there, it's molded, it's just very subtle, where when you're taking a look at these Warlord, you can see, look at those epaulets, how thick they are. That's quite a, it's very pronounced. So basically your washes and stuff, specifically like on these models here, you can see that these washes really break out the detail, where on these, the washes almost don't, because there is no detail there, or at least the mold, the plastic mold is worn out, or the plastic just doesn't have the deep cuts. The backpacks on both of the models, the parry versus the front rank, are very similar. You're going to have a good set of backpacks on both. Something that kind of stands out pretty strong is their sword and bayonet sleeves stand out a little bit more on the front rank. I'm a big proponent for metals. I think metals have a tendency to have a lot more detail than the plastics, but the plastics, like the parry plastics here, they've got a really good amount of detail. It's just, I don't know how to say it. I think the parries were fairly easy to put together. You have to put 2 arms, a head, a backpack together, where the Front ranks, you don't have to do any of that. You just pull the figure out, clean it up, wash it, start painting. Okay, so let's get rid of these regular center company guys. Set those off to the side. And let's go with the elite companies. Okay, so the Grenadiers on both. The Grenadiers on these guys, they look a little thinner than front rank. Not by a whole lot. They still have quite a bit of detail. I still had a whole bunch of fun time painting these guys. And with both of these units, I did prime blue first. And I was happy with that. All right. The bearskins on these are a little narrower and thinner, like more tubular, where these are shorter and wider, more fat bearskins. But other than that, they're very comparable. I'm kind of happy. Now, these guys have a bigger head than these guys. What can you do, right? Maybe they're just more egotistical. Okay, so now we go. Now we go with the lights, the Voltigears, and you will see that these are not Perry heads, because my Perry set did not have Busbies. They only had Shakos and Bearskins. So I dug out my Chasseur heads from Warlord Games, and you can see that these Busbies are a little flatter and the plumes are a little thinner, right, than the front rank. The front rank is just deeper and thicker. Another thing, these guys have the cords. These guys don't have the cords on the Busby, but I'm okay with that. Yeah, when it comes to the horn, I mean, look at the size of that horn compared to the size of that horn. This is probably a more realistic size horn. That's one thing I would say about Perry. Perry is probably more true to scale. Everything is probably correct in the 28mm realm, where the front rank are more bulky and more chunky, and because of that, it makes painting a lot easier, but it also makes the figures take a wash better, for one thing, but it also makes the figures, or I should say makes the uniforms stand out or pop on a table, because when you've got hundreds of units on a table, you're not looking at them, you're not pulling them up and taking a look at them super close. You're looking at them from like 3 or 4 feet away. You're reaching across the table. And these guys are a lot easier to identify as, as what they're supposed to be, their uniforms. All right, so now these front two figures were metal, and they came from just sold separately, individual figures. But this standard bearer actually came from this set, because this set comes with 25 figures, and that 25th model is a standard bearer. So I used him in this battalion, right? So he's got that Shako, a giant plume. And if you were to compare it with the guy standing right next to him, you can see there's a difference in the size of that plume. This thing is gigantic, ginormous, as it would say. Other than that, I think that if I had to put these 2 units or 3 units side by side on a table, and they were going to fight as a regiment or what have you, I think the Perrys and the front ranks work out very well together. Warlord Games would do the same. And my next project is going to be the other 2 battalions that I need to finish, one from the 1st Regiment and one from the 2nd Regiment. They are they're a mixture of Warlord and Victrix models. So I'd like to compare those as well once we get those completed. All right, well, thanks for coming out and watching this update, and I will see you in the next one.